Most of us know that having a strong self love practice is important, but how can we make this not only easier on ourselves, but how can we make it more enjoyable? Because trying to do the self love stuff can seem like a lot of work. And isn't it supposed to be love and not work? Hey, if you want some insights into this, that's what I've got to share with you today. So come on with me, my friend, and let's dig into the soil of this together. Welcome to you. As always, my name is D. Grant Smith, and I am the growth farmer for personal development through the lens of spirituality and storytelling. And what I have to share with you today are some simple and effective and powerful ways to supercharge your self love practice. I have been invested in, committed to, and practicing self love very heavily for the past 6 years after going through a dramatic and, for me, cataclysmic life experience that uh, changed everything in my life, changed everything in the relationship that I was living in, changed the way that I saw myself. And I went from feeling about right here, not up here, but about right here to feeling this is rock bottom, way below that. And it was in that place where I had my spiritual awakening, where God came and spoke to me and said, "You don't know what love really is. And you don't know how to love yourself. And this is the cause of all of your problems." I thought that the problems in my life were the cause of losing the marriage that I was in, my business totally falling apart, and feeling like the whole world didn't care about me. It turns out that my understanding of love was incredibly codependent, which means that my validation, my sense of approval, my sense of self worth was entirely dependent on what happened outside of me in my relationships, in my experiences, the way that I was treated, what worked, what didn't. But really, the cause of all of that was what was going on in here in my own self concept and what was going on in here in my own feelings about me. And the fact that I didn't really know what love really was the culprit for so much pain. And that's when I began A, learning what love really is, and B, practicing giving it to myself every day so that my dependence on anything outside of me to determine my state of consciousness, my feelings about myself, and my belief system didn't exist. The source, God, lives where? Right here inside of me, in my own life, and right inside your heart in yours. And so for us to really grow in love, we have to grow in the capacity and grow in the heart space of the love that already exists within us. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Let me ask you a somewhat simple question. What is your self love game like? Are you at a Michael Jordan level? And yes, I use Michael Jordan instead of LeBron James because I'm from the 80s and 90s where he was the GOAT. And I still consider him to be the GOAT. But I'm not here to talk about basketball, but I am here to put it in this context. You feel like you've got a Michael Jordan level self-love game? If so, congratulations. I am super proud of you. But if not, and most of us, no matter how strong our self-love game is, we're still working to get to a place where we are on top of everything. We've got all the rings and we're rocking and rolling every single day without question or worry or hesitation. I'm still working, growing in this. And if you're like me, let's dig into how we can continue to supercharge our self love practice. My personal self love practice has been evolving a lot, especially over the past year. And maybe your self love practice could use a little bit of a makeover too. If you're feeling like it's kind of the same mundane routine of doing the same things over and over and over, but it doesn't really feel like you're giving yourself love anymore. It feels like you're just going through the motions. Let me help you because I felt that way for a long time too. Because that's not what our self love practice is supposed to feel like. Let me share with you something that has supercharged my own self love practice so that it not only has more power, but it also elevates my state of being, my vibration, and continues to transform my life. I've taken on a couple different methods to try and add a little bit of flair and a little bit of fun and a little bit of flavor into this daily practice. And I keep coming back to one particular way of staying in more of this high vibe state and also reprogramming my subconscious mind so that I operate as the most loving, confident, and best version of me. And this is why I want to share with you this very simple thing today, because if it works for me, it can work for you. You probably already know that having a strong self love practice does have major, amazing benefits like greater inner peace, more harmonious relationships, confidence, operating as the best version of yourself, and not reacting to things that are going on outside you or around you. And if you don't know that, well, let me give you a little bit of uh, help. One of the key tenets to the principle that I live by and what I talk about here on this channel all the time and what I showcase and provide for people through the growth farming platform is this philosophy. It's also a practice. It is treating our hearts and our minds like a garden. And just like we do in the gardening of dirt and soil and seeds and water, we have to regularly plant and cultivate love within ourselves to produce love through our lives, through our actions, our attitudes, and behaviors, as well as what we attract more of into our lives and what we experience in our external world. And one way to practice self love is through bum, 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 affirmations. Now, there are lots of ways to use affirmations. You can do it in journaling. You can recite them out loud, which is super powerful and effective, by the way. You can listen to affirmations played over and over and over again, especially while you sleep. You can meditate on affirmations. All of these are very powerful ways to continue to water the garden of your heart and especially the garden of your mind, because what we think about leads to what we feel. And then what we feel influences what we think about. And so it's this ongoing cycle. And one of the ways that we can change the way that we feel and stay in that vibration of operating at a more high level, more higher consciousness level, is what we're feeding our minds. So, one of the ways that I've been practicing this lately is called Affirmation Rampages. Now, I put together a self love supercharge affirmation rampage that I will link up above and also link down below, that is just a few simple self love statements said over and over and over again for 30 minutes with a kind of back and forth experience that one main message is said over and over and over again. And then in the left ear, there's another message. In the right ear, there's another message. Actually, this is my right ear and this is my left ear, but for you guys watching, it might be the opposite. Anyways, in one ear, there's some other self-love statements. In the other ear, there's some other self-love statements. And I'm also using something called the Grab-A-Voy codes. Now, if you're not familiar with Grab-A-Voy, that's totally fine. I recently found out about that from listening to Brian Scott, also here on YouTube. And these are psychological and divine mathematical codes and frequencies that recondition your subconscious mind to be able to change the way that you think, change the way that you feel, and create more powerful, beneficial avenues and blessings in your life. Now, what does affirmation rampage mean? Why am I adding this rampage thing to it? Well, here's something that you probably have already heard if you followed Abraham Hicks at all. Essentially, like I was saying a second ago, it is having just a few affirmations repeated over and over and over again to once again really change the way that you think. Because whatever it is that we focus on and whatever it is that we repeat, it becomes our pattern of thought. And if we want to elevate our self-love game, it's kind of like the Michael Jordan principle. One of the things that made Michael Jordan so awesome was, what did he do when he would practice basketball every day? He practiced the same shot over and over and over again. He practiced shooting free throws over and over and over and over and over again. to the point where even now, he's 50 something years old, I think. And I watched him do this video where he's he's not in his prime uh youthful body anymore, but you can still have him stand at a free throw line, put a mask over his eyes or a hand over his eyes, and he still shoots perfect free throws. Why? Because he repeated that same pattern over and over and over and over and over again to where he doesn't have to think about it anymore. It's automatically programmed inside. And when we do that with our self love practice and we repeat these simple but affirming and empowering, loving statements to ourselves, we create a different thought process, which creates a different emotional state. And then we find that we are operating out of this different emotional state more regularly, more naturally, and also at a higher elevated level without us having to force ourselves to try to think positive thoughts. What if you want to have your own self love rampage? What can you do? Here are some simple tools for you. Start with, I would say, between 5 and 7 self-love affirmations. You can go all the way up to 10 if you want to, but try to keep it short. And you want to make self-love affirmation statements that really embody and foster thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes that are loving, empowering, encouraging, and strong. Write them down every morning and then read them to yourself out loud. If you can stand in front of a mirror so you're looking at yourself and you're making these declarations of faith and declarations of truth to yourself, it amplifies the power of them. But don't just say them in a boring monotone voice. Really get amplified, because remember, you are speaking to yourself, your one true love. So when you're saying, "You are beautiful, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am powerful, I am loving, I am kind, I am blessed, I am prosperous, I am abundant, I am successful," or whatever your affirmation rampage is. Say it with passion. Say it with power. Believe in yourself. And as you express these affirmations out loud, not only as you express them out loud, but as you look at yourself while you do it, you are empowering yourself with this divine love energy that totally transforms and reshapes your self concept. Now, don't just do this one time. Do this regularly. Do it in the morning and then do it at night before you go to bed. Maybe after you brush your teeth. You're already standing there in front of the mirror. Go ahead and knock yourself out in the best way. And if you need to close the door so you're totally by yourself, if you have other people that live in your house, do that. But spend that time, 5 to 10 minutes, really loving the heaven into you. Now, once again, I encourage you to listen to my self-love rampage if you want a basis place to start out on, and then take what I've done there and replicate it for yourself. That is one of the most powerful and dynamic ways to supercharge your self-love practice. Now, if you want more guidance, more direction, and even personal support with me, I've got a lot of tools, resources, and amazing connection opportunities that I love to share with people through the growth farming platform. It's not only a place where I have some amazing stories that will totally inspire you and transform your life, but also some very deep dive teachings and courses and materials to take you through the process of fully growing and harvesting love from within yourself out through your life so that you become the best version of you. And if you want to join into the platform on an even more expansive level, I invite you to become a member of Growth Farming. Members connect with me every single week, especially in the Harvest Vineyard membership level. We do a weekly small group coaching session where I take people personally through one key personal development lesson, one key personal development avenue, and we add, of course, a spiritual component to it, but we also incorporate ways to make this simple, practical, fun, and enlightening. And we discuss together how we can support each other in a more expansive capacity. And this support is honest, it's truthful, and it's also incredibly loving and incredibly empowering. Because one of the things about going through personal development and going through personal growth, and especially when we bring spirituality into this, is it can feel somewhat isolating at times because most of the people around us are not always on the same level that we are, or going through the same things that we are, or even understand what it is that we're going through. And so to be able to grow and build together with people that are like you, especially people that have big hearts. I'm pretty sure you have a big heart. That's why you've been attracted into watching this video, because I've got a really big heart. And if you're like me and you're a big-hearted person and you want to connect with other big-hearted people, go through a process of continual support, continual encouragement, continual guidance, and community. I would love for you to be a part of the community that I have. So join me at growthfarming.com. Scroll down to the middle of the page, see the Harvest Vineyard level, and go ahead and jump in. I appreciate you. I love you, and I'll see you again soon.